Welcome to In Progress, a podcast to help you grow and learn how to become a better version of yourself. Now, here's your host, Michael Cirigliano.
Welcome to In Progress. I'm your host, Michael Cirigliano. We got a special guest on today, professional poet by the stage name The Rebel Flower Bomb, DJ by the stage name Oso Finesse, and teacher Gianni. How you doing today, Gianni?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. So we were talking a little bit. You were telling me you got a book out and you're performing and all of that. Why don't you tell the people what you're doing?
Well, I'm trying to get back on the stage. I kind of took a break to get myself in order. It was kind of a hiatus because poetry actually can be a lot. Yeah. But I do have a book out entitled The Heartbreak Series. It's on Amazon. Definitely open for purchase. I started DJing last year. I've always wanted to DJ because my uncle is a professional DJ. I want to be like him. COVID happened, was getting that good old unemployment check.
Hell yeah.
And invested in myself and got the equipment that I needed and really started playing with the ones and twos. And now I'm trying to be booked and busy. Because I'm already blessed.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, you're probably the only person I know that used that COVID unemployment and COVID money for something good. Like the only one.
Don't get it twisted. I did get some gold bottoms. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you splurged a little bit, but at the end of the day, it was still worth it.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you for coming on because I wanted to have an episode about mental health and mental health awareness in general. And you told me that you'd be down to talk about, your own journey through all of it.
Absolutely.
So, why don't you go through like your early, like, your childhood, like when did you kind of figure out you were dealing with mental health issues and all of that?
To be frank, like I didn't really understand it growing up because, discussing mental health issues or anything along those lines is taboo, especially in Black families. We don't discuss stuff like that because ain't nothing wrong with you.
Yeah,
you get an ass whooping and that kind of fixes the problem.
So yeah, I feel you. Italians the same way. Italians the same way.
Yeah, but I didn't really know. I knew I was a little different. More so, I thought it was just because of family, maybe little personal issues. We all grow up a little different, but I kind of dealt with my emotions different. A lot of times it was pinned on me because I'm a Scorpio. So, and you know about Scorpios because me and our little brother, because that's my little brother too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when I got into college, I truly started to recognize that there was something there. Something was wrong. I just never truly been able to cope with things and didn't really know how to handle myself normally, I guess.
Yeah.
When I was actually in school, I was going to MCC. I actually had to get anger management because of my temper. It was getting so bad. I wasn't a bad kid in school, you know what I'm saying? I challenged my teachers, don't get me wrong, you know what I'm saying? Right. I challenged the teachers. I definitely tried challenging my mom, but like I said, that wasn't nothing the ass whipping wouldn't fix.
That's right.
But in 2012, I lost my grandmother. And that's when everything hit the fan, I lost my best friend, I wear this every day as a reminder who she is and what she meant to me. So once my grandmother passed away, everything that could have possibly been bottled inside of me was like shaking up a soda can and popping it open, and I exploded.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I definitely understand that. I mean, I know as a guy, I mean, from an Italian family, it's kind of similar to the Black Hispanic upbringing.
Very, very.
I grew up with like my dad. Even to this day, I don't like deal with my emotions properly, and I know that for a fact, just based on people I talk to and all of that. It's kind of like, if you show your emotion as an Italian man, from my father especially, if you show your emotions, you're a bitch.
So,
Yeah, exactly. And like, I, as a kid, like if something upset me and I cried, like how you said, when I'm a kid, if I cried, my dad looks at me and goes, if you don't stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about. And it was always like that. So even now, like it's that same thing where like if something's wrong with me, it's getting shoved all the way down. And then eventually you're shoving so much, you're up here. And then just that one thing happens, breaks you. And whoever's in the vicinity has to deal with 5 years of pent up bullshit at one time.
That's a theory, truly.
Yeah.
You know, and for us, it was, you know, just when you think about it, you grow up and they're like, don't be a tattletale, right?
Right.
Truly acknowledging what happened and how it made you feel was being a tattletale, you know.
Right, exactly.
Stop being a crybaby. That was, what are you crying for? It's not that bad, you know. I was actually told before, you don't have real problems, you know.
Damn.
And in the moment of a severe breakdown, I mean, I'm boohoo crying. I'm like, sad as hell. It was, you don't have real problems, because there was definitely a time, my childhood best friend, she would talk about me all the time. She like, you don't cry, like, and I used to always pick on her like, oh, you a punk, you know, because all she did was cry. But then when I hit my breaking point, it was me who took on that trait of like, I'm not afraid to cry. You know, I could break down and cry right now and not be sad about it.
Yeah.
That's because I took the initiative and I took that step to get the help that I needed, because I knew I wasn't okay. It took a long time, but 30 years old now, not that old, but definitely I did what I needed to do.
No, 100%. And that's a step that a lot of people either are afraid of taking or they think they don't need. I mean, there's that common misconception that you only go to therapy or you only seek help if there's something really wrong with you and you're like over the top. So if you go to going to therapy, seeking help, that's all taboo in most cultures.
Absolutely.
And that, in my opinion, like I feel like our generation kind of got to change that, because
we are changing it.
We are exactly.
Our generation is the generation of we take self serious, you know. We're about accountability and acknowledging what's important, because our ancestors and our parents and our grandparents and our loved ones, our elders, you know, they were focused on keeping things in order on the surface, you know what I'm saying? So they are still dealing with the things they never dealt with. That we're like, oh, I'm not going to continue being a part of the generational curses. I'm going to break the generational curses. We're the ones who are breaking the generational curses. That's why, you know, years ago they were protesting. They did that part, but just like Malcolm X was like, I'm violent, right? Like nonviolence is not always going to solve your problems. Just like they try to make it like Martin Luther King was this nonviolent person. Like,
right.
No, sometimes you got to get your point across, but it was us. It's us now who are like, no, we're not sticking by this no more. Like, I am not my ancestors. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take our earrings off. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Exactly.
And that's what we do with our feelings, our past, our emotions, you know, our demons. We square up with our demons on a regular basis when we're the ones who are like, I know I got to go to work and I know I got to get this check, but I'm not okay today, so I'm not going. That's why they have mental health days. We're the ones who utilize mental health days. Our parents don't use mental health days. And if they do, they don't call it mental health days. They wait until they're sick and their body's ready to break down and tear down for them to say, oh, I'm going to take a step back and take care of myself.
Right.
We do it when we know I'm not okay.
Exactly.
I'm not going to work today. I don't want to be bothered today. Leave me alone. I got to get me in order. Even if getting you in order means taking a shot, even if it means sleeping all day long, because self-care is the best care. That's why this generation now, you know, we're the ones who are like, I'm taking care of myself. And I really do believe that is our generation, because the ones that's coming up after us, a lot of them are in the space where they don't know how to cope with their emotions, because they do have those parents who are young, who are stuck in their parents' ways because they won't get the help that they need. You know, we had the friends years ago who was on Ritalin.
Yeah.
And now we like, nah, like, I don't think it's ADHD and ADD, and I don't think I need Ritalin to figure this out. I think I gotta discuss what happened to me. You know what I'm saying? What's really going on?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, yeah, everybody. I mean, when I was in school, everybody was on some type of ADHD, ADD medication, and it's like, no, a lot of those people, because I knew, like, the people that I knew. I have a cousin who was diagnosed with like ADD or ADHD or something like that, and they were giving him Ritalin all the time. And he was an energetic, angry person for sure, 100%. But then you also have to, like, now I sit back and I think, and I'm like, no, he came from a messed up household.
Real bad.
So, like, yeah. So it's like, you know, your parents aren't happy together. You're seeing that as a 6, 7, 8-year-old child. That's not what you need to see. And you just act out on it. And you see, like, you know, you see your parents fighting all the time, and your dad's cussing out your mom, maybe starts getting physical, leaves, comes back drunk, all of that. And it's like, you're so young, you mimic that.
Absolutely.
And now, as a child, mimicking what you're seeing your dad do or your mom do, there's something wrong with you. Whole time you're just doing what you're seeing.
You're just doing what you're seeing. There's a movie that me and my fiance watched a couple days ago. It's on Netflix. It's called The Shack.
Okay.
And it's such a beautiful movie. And I don't want to tell the whole movie, but I actually talked about it with my therapist on Friday. Long story short, the guy experienced abuse as a child, and he watched it as a child. And I don't want to say too much. he did something that was a lot, and he dealt with it up until being an adult, and then he had his own family, and eventually he loses his daughter. And he has an encounter with God, because all he wants to do is take that person away. Like, you took my baby away from me. And in this movie, God is a woman. At one point, God is who you need to be, right?
Yeah.
If we get outside of the invisible, right? What we can't see and all of that. Yeah. God is for adults. When you're a kid, you believe Santa Claus is real, right?
Right.
But that's all about your imagination. That's all about your belief system, right? What's in your heart. And that's who God is for us. But God represents a woman in the movie, and then at one point a man, but is there for him and like walks him through it. And then there's somebody who represents Jesus, and somebody who represents the breath of wind, what others call the Holy Spirit. And really talk to him about forgiveness. And it's such a beautiful movie. And then there's a part in the movie, like I said, I don't want to get into taking away from the movie, but there's a part of the movie where God begins to talk to him, and God sends him on to can't think of what it was at the moment, but they're talking to him and ask him about forgiveness. Like, why, what do you have to do to forgive him? He said, he's saying, like, I don't want to do it. And they ask him, well, what if this person went through this? That's why they made the decision that they made. And this person went through this. That's why they made the decision they made. And they break it down to where it's like nobody is doing what they're doing just to do it.
Right, exactly.
They have an entire background. Their experiences have molded them and shaped them into doing the things that they do. I have people in my life who have watched their parents be drug dealers their entire lives. Guess what they do?
Same
they
thing.
may have been brought up to do something totally different, but I seen it, so I want to see what it's like.
Right, exactly.
I know it's easy for you. So that's I think that's all a part of it, you know. Yeah. What you see is what you end up becoming a part of. And once again, our generation is the generation that says, I got to break these generational curses, man. I want to be okay. For me, my mom, you know, my mom worked her ass off. My mom worked for the state. All I see is my mom working. You know, she's tired. She complains about her job on a regular basis. And today she texted me and told me her sciatic nerve was hurting and she could barely walk. You know, she could barely walk the distance in the grocery store to finish grocery shopping for Christmas. But she had to take a break because of her job. Simply a job is tearing you apart and tearing you down. And yeah, she got the vacation and yeah, she got the sick time, but she ain't going to use it because, oh, well, they need me. No, they don't need you because guess what? God forbid something happened to you today. They're going to replace you.
That's a fact.
Because guess what? We know each other from AT&T. They was replacing me before they even told me they was replacing me. Right. I already knew what time it was. Y'all was setting me up to be replaced.
Exactly.
Y'all knew the reason why I was unable to work is because my mental health wasn't in order.
Exactly. And that's the most fucked up thing in my mind is because we were raised. I mean, I'm assuming you were the same way as me. If we gotta like call in, if we gotta be like sick to work or not work, sick to school, our parents are like, you're not sick. Or if you're sick, you better be in bed all day. You not no video games, no friends. No, you're sick. You're in the hospital bed, basically.
Yep.
So now, like, we were trained like that. So now, like, if you want to call off of work, you like, even for me, I remember when I first started with the company, I was working day in and day out, coming in on my day off, working past the time I clock out and stay there, all that kind of stuff. And it's just because like I saw my dad working nonstop. He worked so hard, he actually had a breakdown to the point where he blacked out at work, on the job, passed out on the floor, went to the hospital. And then he got out the hospital after a little bit of rehab to be able to walk again. And he went right back and did it again. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then like, I see myself doing the same thing. And I'm like, I see it happen to so many people where it's like, all right, I can't call off, otherwise they need me kind of thing. And then it's like you said, no, they don't. If you died, bro, if you died in the worst possible way, if you got gunned down in a horrible way, you're replaced the next day.
Even if they show up to your funeral, they got somebody to replace you.
Exactly.
They're not closing the store down.
No.
They're not closing this job down.
Not at all.
Gone. To be frank, like I worked at 29 school 2 years ago, I believe, 2.5 years ago. My student, his one-on-one passed away. She had been his one-on-one for the longest. I think she passed away right after leaving the job.
Really?
The next day, he had a new one-on-one, and the principal was coming to me to take her place. So the reality of it is that they will replace you. So you have to consider yourself. You have to put yourself first and say, I'm worthy, I matter, I'm going to be okay. If I don't do what I have to do for me, I'm not going to be okay. So, you know, now I think it really takes us being the ones to say, I got to take care of me.
100%.
And I can't be here today. And that's why they do have things in place where if you know your shit, right? Let's be honest. You know your shit. If you take the time off to get you in order for your mental health. And that's why they always say have a paper trail. What, you gonna fire me because I'm not mentally okay? Exactly. Okay, well, I know who to go to. I know who to go to. I know how to handle you. Mm-hmm. I know how to deal with you. You gonna put me out? I got you. Exactly. You know? So it really takes us being the ones that saying, I'm not going for this no more. I am not my ancestors. That's why that saying is so prevalent and it's so heavy now. It's like, I am not my ancestors. I'm not going through what my ancestors and my elders did. I'm going to be the one to say, don't mess with me. Don't play with me. Mm-hmm. I got to be good. What you going to tell me? They're willing. These jobs are willing to lose good employees because they put their mental health on the line every single day for those jobs. Mm-hmm. They're just, all they want is the money. They don't care about you
at all. You're just a number.
Nothing to them. You're just a number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the problem with it is a lot. I mean, I feel like that's why a lot of people in our generation are going the self-employment entrepreneurial route, because then you make your sky. If you're like, for me, I'm doing this. I got like the food thing. I do the, edibles, whatever. Huh?
I said the food be banging.
Appreciate that. When I come back, I'll make sure you get some. Well, but like all that's happening because like, if I'm not feeling it one day, all I got to do is post up on social media. Nothing's going on today. Or I don't schedule something to happen on a day so I could have time to myself. Absolutely. But like with the job, it's like, I don't care what you're going through. You are going to be here tomorrow at 8 a.m., whether you're sick, healthy, not. And then what really caught me is even like, if you say you're sick, right?
Are you sure?
Yeah. Are you sure you're sick? And if you are,
sure you can't come in?
I need a doctor's note. And it's like a doctor's note. I got to go pay somebody to tell me I'm sick when I know I'm sick so that you know that I'm not lying? Hell no.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. What my deductible could be $10. That's $10 I'm not spending to prove to you that I was sick. Well, I got to go out now when I'm not feeling good to prove to you I'm not feeling. No.
Exactly. Out of here. That's one thing I love about the job that I'm at now. Working with kids is my passion. Working with youth is my passion. This school definitely is supportive and understanding of health. Mm-hmm. The principal, she, people have their ways with them, right?
Yeah.
But this woman definitely understands, like if I go to her and I let her know, like, I'm not good today, I don't feel well. The best thing a person could tell you is take care of yourself, That's when you in the right place.
Right.
The nurse at the school, one day I was running a fever, just this past October, September, the end of September, I was running a fever. I wasn't feeling good. I was having body aches, and I was afraid that I may have possibly had COVID again because I had COVID early in the year.
Yeah.
She was like, you need to go home and don't come back for 24 hours if you until your fever is gone. I disregarded it and I returned to work and ended up getting sick again. I think we had a meeting. Went to work. Actually, so Tuesday I went home early. Wednesday I stayed home. Thursday I returned to work. We had a meeting. I got home about 5 o'clock, sat on the couch and had a 103, and man, my body was like burning up hot. My fiance had like touched me. She's like, what is going on? Like, are you sure you're okay? I wouldn't eat and ended up getting sick. I thought it was salmonella. Well, yeah, I had a stomach virus. That's what I said it was. It's just a stomach virus.
Yeah.
I'll be okay. I stayed
downplaying it.
Yeah, I stayed home. I would return to work in the following week. I came home and my neck was stiff. Like, I was still trying to push through, go to work at first, but then I came home, my neck was stiff. I reached out to my doctor. She's like, you need to go to the emergency. It could possibly be meningitis. I'm like, I got no damn meningitis. So I'll go at 5 o'clock in the morning. My fiance, oh, babe, you need to go now. I'm like, nah, babe, I'll just go in the morning, 5 o'clock, whatever, when it's slow. She's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. I went. They ran tests and did everything. And the moment the doctor came to me and said, well, we're going to have to keep you because your red blood cells are all over the place, or your white blood cells are all over the place. Something is wrong. We don't know what's wrong, but we can't send you home. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, damn, back to that mentality from our parents that, well, I still got to work. Because my mom till this day be like, well, Gianni, don't miss too many days because, you got to go to work. And I'd be like, girl, please. Like, but, it's like we push ourselves because of our parents. Like, it's not an us thing. And no, we're not lazy. And I think that's another thing. We're afraid to be called lazy when we're taking care of ourselves, but we're not being lazy. Like, no, I'm really not okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I wasn't working when I caught COVID, but when I was exposed to COVID and I told the job, they were still like, you sure you can't come in? Mm-hmm. There was a time where I had to get a COVID test. I told a particular person who I was supposed to report this to and was okay with me still showing up to work. Well, just don't tell nobody that you got a COVID test.
Damn, that's so dirty, bro. So dirty. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So this is things that I've experienced in jobs. They don't give a damn. And then when I did get COVID, I was on my deathbed. So this ain't something to play with, but these jobs don't care. No. But that goes back to your mental health. What about you? And at what point are you going to care about yourself enough to say, I can't do this. I got to be okay for me.
Exactly. And like, historically speaking, because I was looking this up the other day, because I was like, the boomer generation, the lazy millennial generation, all this stuff. Right. I was looking up, like, historically, right? And if you had a factory job back in the day in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, like if you had a factory job, you were getting paid the equivalent of like $22, $23 an hour starting out now, full benefits, 2 weeks paid vacation. Like, you were getting everything for an entry level position. Now you got to go either rack up some debt at college to work your ass off for years to then get that, or you got to work your way up through a company and give your blood, sweat, and tears to the company just to get to a point where you're kind of good. But like, to me, it's like, I understand why maybe they were going so hard, because if you were getting paid $25 an hour for 2 weeks, full paid vacation, sick days, all of that, like, okay, yeah, the job's looking out for me too, I guess. But like, now it's like, I'm getting paid $11 an hour with a week paid vacation, maybe a sick day here or there that I got to basically go to trial for. Like,
then you want me to work as a manager and not give me manager pay.
Yep, that whole
you want me to damn near run your store for you, but you don't want to pay me for it.
Like, with entry level pay
for the work, please.
Fuck out of here. But do you think, back to your teaching, do you think that your passion for teaching and grooming the youth comes from your knowledge of how, like, parents affect their kids, adults affect their kids, so you Absolutely. Can kind of change that?
1000%. 1000%. I find myself having those conversations unconsciously with kids, like reprogramming them in a sense, and not in a bad way, but it's I have a student I work with. My class is first graders, and they're 6 years old, 7 years old, and I have a 6-year-old in my class, who if we were to put Paw Patrol on, he would say that's for kids. Exactly.
At 6, what's he watching? CSI?
If they put like a little kid dance song on, he's like, oh, this for babies. Like, you're a baby, my guy.
Damn.
He made a comment one day about gays, like, because of Lil Nas X, and just he's 6 years old, and he's like, stop telling them that Santa Claus is real. Santa Claus not real. You moved that elf. And I'm like, I actually didn't move that elf. I don't know how that elf got all the way up there, because I don't, right? I'm just being honest with you, even though I know exactly how, but like I didn't realize it was up there. Right. I'm trying to figure out where the elf in the classroom is the same way you are, boss. But I try to reprogram him into being a child again, because so many people strip being a child from children, and a lot of it has to do with social media access. A lot of it has to do with siblings. So like sometimes you can be 6 years old and you're the next sibling up maybe 12 years old, and you want to follow suit from that person, and you want to be older than you actually are, because maybe your 12-year-old did say that's for babies. You know, maybe the 12-year-old did say that's for kids, and now you're repeating it because you don't understand that you are that. But I try to be the one to remind them, like, it's okay to be a kid, you know, enjoy yourself as a kid, or do things that, or do things, or be excited about things for them so that they can enjoy that. So this particular kid, like I said, he always makes the comment, oh, that's for kids, da, 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 da. But I got a bunch of books from Five Below that they can color in, and we printed pages, and he decided he wanted to color a Paw Patrol because he wanted to give the picture to me, because I was excited to see the picture. That's that reprogramming. It's like, oh my gosh, somebody is excited about me coloring, even if it's Paw Patrol. Well, that's Marshall. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a beautiful thing to see children be children, but it all comes from upbringing. And I was a kid, you know. My mother didn't let us be too grown. You know, my mother made us be children. My family made us be children because it was so many children in the family. You know?
Exactly.
All my cousins were siblings, basically. So we grew up doing kid stuff. We were going and playing tag and hide and seek outside and catch, and we were being kids. You know, we knew Monopoly games. But today I'm 30 years old and my sister is 31. She'll be 32 in February. But I couldn't hang with my sister, because my sister, it was her and my older cousins. So she went with them, and I was just a couple of months too young. So I had to go. I was literally, it was me, and then it was my sister.
You were the cutoff.
I was the cutoff. So I had to be with the other ones. And then there was the ones that were younger than me. Working with kids is that reminder every day, that innocence, you know, keep your innocence. And because it's important, it's imperative. You know?
Absolutely. And I mean, even as adults, you could see this through any adult. I mean, if you take your life and you live it like how our parents did, right? Or you live it like how you're supposed to live it, whatever, you're living a boring, mundane, miserable life. Even as adults, like I find myself, my friend, like I have friends who like do that boring, like they don't really want to like do fun things, because like they're like, oh no, that's some high school shit. And it's like, you're even as an adult, you're still chasing that like childlike fun and excitement and spontaneity, like that. I mean, that's just what we forever need.
That's how you stay young.
Exactly. And that's like you see, like our parents, like they were just like, I know, like my dad and my mom, like my dad comes home from work, a beer, TV, then it's news the whole time. And it's like, there was no fun in that. Like it was literally, you live to work and that's it. And that's the worst way to live.
That's the worst, you know. And thank God, I tell my mom now, you know, now I can have more open conversations with my mother, without feeling bad and without her making me feel bad about it, because, you know, how it is for us, you can't challenge your parents. But now I challenge her in a way that it's not disrespectful, if that makes any sense. So I try to get my mom to step out of her comfort zone and live a little bit. Mom, you need to live a little. And I was just saying, literally, I was just telling my fiance on Sunday, we had a Christmas party, a family Christmas party. We had a Christmas brunch. And I said, you know, babe, mommy would never get up and dance. You could listen. You couldn't tell me you got a picture of my mother years ago. She hated the camera. It was like she was a vampire or something. You know what I'm saying? Like hated the camera. Now she'll talk, John. Oh my gosh, I don't like taking pictures, but like she'll take pictures. There was a time where my mom didn't feel 1,000% confident and she wouldn't dance in front of people. And now she lives a little because she says it all the time. I don't want to be like my mom. My grandmother, I suck at math, mental math at times, but my grandmother passed away in 2012. She was born in 1949. I believe she was 63 years old when she passed away. But my mom say all the time, I don't want to be young like mommy. I want to live. And my grandmother went through my grandmother's first blood clot. Excuse me. Her first blood clot was in 2000. 2001, she had a stroke. So if she passed in 2012, my grandmother was 50 years old. She was still young. Yeah. And she was having strokes and blood clots. And then my grandmother passed away 3 years before she passed away. She was on dialysis. But my grandmother was the cleaner. When you see the help, that's who she was years ago, cleaning up people's houses. She cleaned up a family home so long, they came to the funeral in support and offered things. It was an Italian family she took care of, actually. Okay. Which is funny.
Hell yeah. But everything comes together.
Seriously. And she didn't take care of herself. She was focused on the family, I look at how it was seeing them yell, my mother and my grandmother, they yelled a lot. My grandmother was a cigarette smoker. She used to be a chain smoker, and that's part of why she had a blood clot and a stroke. But that was her coping mechanism. She smoked cigarettes in packs of Newports, OG style. She raised her voice and yelled and screamed at the top of her lungs. My grandmother had a little crazy side to her. She had a butcher knife in the freezer. Don't ask.
Damn, in the freezer though. Damn, okay. She was thinking.
You know what I'm saying? But thinking about stories that I've heard, like my grandmother experienced abuse, but she held on, I hear it every day. My fiance says to me, babe, why do I always have to be strong? That Black women got to be strong mentality. Like, no, you don't, love. You can be vulnerable. You can be human. You can cry. You can go through things. Yes, you can have days where you don't want to do shit. And you ain't got to do shit.
Yeah, that's normal.
Shit will get done.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's human. You're human. It's okay to be human. It's okay to go through these things. But once again, when you are brought up to believe different, and maybe not believe different when you're brought up seeing different, you follow the path, which is one of those generational curses. Well, how do I break this curse where I can figure out how to take care of myself? Because guess what? If you're the one who live in that lifestyle, then your kids are going to follow suit. And their kids are going to follow suit, and their kids are going to follow suit. And it's just going to continue to be a trend. And everybody is going to be depressed and sad. And ain't nobody going to have their shit together. That's why we always get caught up in, yeah, we can go to college and get a degree, but why we ain't running our own businesses? Why are we working for people forever? Because guess what? We spend too much time working for everybody else. We forget about self.
Exactly. And that's the worst thing.
There's a time when you got to cut the cord.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
A lot of us still have the umbilical cord attached to our parents, to which we are unable to break the generational curse because that cord is still attached and you still a part of them.
Yeah. And that's the toughest thing, to realize that and to break that. That's the toughest thing.
I broke it. I was afraid. So confession. I believe there's only 2 people in the world that knows this. That's my fiance and my therapist. That I did not tell my mother that I was getting therapy until last year during the pandemic when I had a breakdown.
Really?
So, yes, and I have been getting therapy for the longest. I think I briefly was having a conversation with her in the car one day, and I ended up telling her that I have bipolar disorder. And multiple personality disorder. It was literally a conversation, and she didn't judge me. She didn't question anything, but she became more gentle with me. And I didn't know she was capable of doing that because
yeah, you see the whole other side.
Yeah, because I used to like, my mom was always like hard, like she always had to be hard on us in certain ways. And I remember one day saying, Mom, like, you don't always have to be like that. I said, Mom, you hurt my feelings when you said that. And she got mad. Well, Gianni, don't play with me. You know, when you hear don't play with me, you know what don't play with me means. I'm like, I'm not playing with you, Mom. Like, I'm serious. You hurt my feelings. And then she was like, oh, why you being so sensitive and you tripping? And I didn't talk to her for 2 days after that because of how she made me feel. And then she finally reached out and said, I'm sorry.
Wow.
And I think that one is one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced in my life, is to hear sorry from my mother. Because the time that I did hear sorry from my mother apologized for something she had no reason to apologize for. And that was because when losing my grandmother was one of the hardest things I've ever experienced in my life, as I said in the beginning. But I took care of my grandmother. I was that. I didn't have my teenage years wasn't normal. I was helping with my grandmother. I was helping take care of my grandmother and being her caretaker and assisting my mom because I wanted my grandmother to be okay. Yeah. And my mom felt bad about it, you know, that I wasn't the one in the club. And I've only seen the let out one time, literally one time. Wow. And that was just riding by the let out. One of my best friends, I lost him to suicide. That was my baby. But the weekend he passed away, he asked me to come to the club, and I didn't go to the club. I didn't go to the club because I wanted to make sure my grandmother was okay. Yeah. So I didn't have those experiences like other people, you know, like.
Yeah, you had to grow up mad fast.
It wasn't really growing up fast. It was just I chose family and I chose love.
Which is very important.
And I do wish some days, like, dang, I wish I was able to do that. And I hear people club stories, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't know much about that. You know, yeah, I was at the Lil Wayne and Rick Ross concert. You ain't go to that? I ain't want to go to that. You know, when I did go to a concert, it's just funny thinking about it. It's like, oh yeah, the concerts that I was at. I went to Water Street years ago when Pretty Ricky came, and I wasn't supposed to be there because I was underage, but I was there. And you know, that's what I could talk about because I was with my cousins, you know. But I don't really know what I think I couldn't tell you what the inside of Envy looked like or Liquid. I've been in Venue, you know, like I don't know. I've been in Venue only because I was doing poetry. So it was a Wednesday night and I was asked to do a poem. I was asked to headline a show, but that was it. Shit. So she apologized for it, and I was like, Mom, you don't have to apologize. But I'd rather my mom apologize to me for making me feel bad and hurting my feelings than to apologize for me taking care of her mother, who was the most beautiful and amazing person that ever graced this earth.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. And I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, like your family, love, all that's the most important thing. I mean, you sound like that's like number one for you.
All day long.
So like for you, that's not a problem for you. And like all the other things, I mean, that's secondary to that. So, I mean, that it makes sense then that in 2012, that's when like you actually blew up.
That's literally crashed down on me.
So what happened in 2012 that made you like realize, like, because obviously in the moment you're not like, oh shit, I'm snapping, but like after the fact, so like what made you realize like, oh damn, I just went off?
So it was actually it was a lot. So 2012 was the last year I had true fun, and during that time period, and the first time I really had to acknowledge that I wasn't okay. So during that time, my grandmother was still alive. I was having severe migraines. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but they were like they were impairing, so I wouldn't be able to do anything. But my grandmother had Vicodin, and that was the only thing that would knock out the migraine for like 10-15 minutes, but it would come right back. Damn. And so she passed away May 31st, 2012. Prior to that, I had went on a cruise with my aunt, my uncle, and my cousin. When I got back to Rochester, she was in the hospital. That she was the reason why I actually came back to Rochester. So I went on the cruise, the 8-day cruise. So I was gone for 9 days with them. When I returned to Fort Lauderdale, I flew into Jacksonville with my grandfather, my mother's father. I had flew into Jacksonville to be with him in Georgia for the week. That Wednesday, I got the call that my great grandmother went into the hospital and that she didn't have a lot of time. And then Thursday, they called and said my grandmother was in the hospital. Oh, okay, well, I gotta get home. My mom was like, "No, enjoy yourself, Gianni." I said, "No, I gotta come home." My grandfather ended up finding the first flight out for me that he could get, which was Saturday morning. I think I had left at like 2:00 in the morning to get back to Rochester.
You made sure you were there, damn.
Yeah, I needed to be by her side. When I got back, I I knew I needed to be there for her because I was upset with my grandmother before I left Rochester. So she was sick, you know, she was old, she was sick, her independence was being taken from her. So there were times that she would be like really, really obnoxious and mean. And I had said, "Grandma, you know, you don't be mean to the people who take care of you. Me and mommy take care of you. You're nice to all these other people. They don't come check on you. They don't do nothing for you, but we do stuff for you and you're mean to us. That's not okay." And I didn't want to talk to her. So I like kept my distance from her. But while I was on the cruise, my grandmother called me like 4 times. She ran up my Sprint bill. That's why I ain't paid. But
I feel that 100%.
I mean, we're in the middle of the ocean and my grandmother is calling me, telling me, "Come home." You know, that was my baby. But that was so April 23rd until whenever. So April 23rd, it was 9 days. I'm doing the math because April 23rd is actually when I left Rochester. So then when I got back, she was sick. I believe my sister, I was here for Mother's Day, which was that following week, which was Sunday. And then my sister graduated from college that weekend. So my grandmother had they had discharged her like a week after I got home, put her into rehab. The woman discharged herself from there. She was tripping.
Damn, really?
She was tripping. She ain't want to be bothered. They wasn't feeding her. They wasn't giving her enough food. She ain't like that. So she took herself home. Then she eventually ended up going back into the hospital because she aspirated, but she caught pneumonia from aspiration. She was in Highland Hospital. I think she was there for about a week. She was still sick, and I kept saying, you know, she's not doing well. I actually was able to pick my grandmother up because she had been so weak. But you know, these hospitals are shitty sometimes. They don't do their job. If it was up to me, I would have sued Highland Hospital, but my mother told me no. That's another thing from our elders. They have ways with stuff like that.
100%.
They like to brush things under the rug. But my grandmother had discharged her and sent her to Monroe Community Hospital because she was unable to go home. So that was the senior living or whatever. That's where she was gonna be. My grandmother hadn't been there for 24 hours. She had got admitted at about 3 o'clock that afternoon. We went to see her. We went to Walmart to get the things she needed at the place. And I woke up, my stepdad came in my room at 7 o'clock in the morning and told me my grandmother passed away. She had passed away at 2:18 on May 31st, 2012. Still mind blown. I think I still haven't completely accepted that she's gone. I started really having more migraines after that. Then I had so we had the funeral and everything. On the 4th of July, my great grandmother passed away. Yeah, and then the same day, so my aunt's ex, my uncle Gary, his mom name was Miss Williams. Everybody loved Miss Williams. She was like a grandmother to me. She passed away on the 4th of July, 2012 as well. That Tuesday, I was working an under-table job. The person who gave me the job texted me and told me not to come back, that I had too much going on, and she think it was best that she let me go. So I kind of got fired in a text message. She didn't have the decency to call me.
Damn.
And
Jesus Christ, all that shit just stacked.
All at one time. You know, they say when it rains, it pours.
Damn right.
I had a whole Hurricane Katrina going on in my life.
Sound like it, goddamn.
Terrible. And then 2 weeks after that, which was still in July, I believe it was July 18th. So the week before July 18th, I had a bad headache, and I went to Highland Hospital emergency room. This headache wouldn't go away. I couldn't figure it out. They gave me Flexerol, they gave me all these medications, and nothing worked. But they sent me home, and they said I was gonna be fine.
Of course it did.
No, I was worse. It's like laid out on the bathroom floor throwing up. And I had popped a vein in my eye. It was horrible. I've never had that happen before, just from throwing up and crying. I woke up the next morning, I had a film over my eyes. I could barely see. I had a doctor. I was getting a new doctor at that point in time. You know, it was the transition, because my pediatric doctor, he was so dope, he let me stay longer than I was supposed to.
Yeah.
But I had to transition to another doctor because I was getting ready to turn 21 years old. They checked my eyes. My optic nerves was so swollen. They couldn't figure out why I was still okay. My blood pressure was about, I think it was like 234 or something. I have the papers, but it was severely high. I should have been dead. They rushed me to the hospital. I had to have an emergency spinal tap. I could not see. They wanted to have a surgery. It's called an optic nerve sheath, where they cut a slit into your eye. So right here, they will cut a slit into your eye, kind of get your eyeball out, and put a slit into your eyeball where your vein is, to drain it. But God is good. God had my back, and God said, we're not gonna do all of that. And I was on several medications. One day, I wasn't talking. I couldn't see. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking for. I can't see anything. I can't write poetry. I can't read my poetry. I don't want to talk to nobody. I was literally depressed, staying in my room. And one day I was trying to pour pills. I was gonna take them all. My baby brother had walked in the room, and he was a kid. He didn't know what was going on. He was just coming in to be by my side, and he kind of stopped me. That was the moment he saved my life. I was going through it so bad. I mean, after that, I had got addicted to Percocet. Like, my family don't even know that I was just popping them. It made me feel good.
Yeah.
I'm on clouds. As much as it was medication for the pains, it was also medication to take me away.
Absolutely. That's definitely a coping mechanism for all that. Yeah.
Exactly. Then I lost my best friend to suicide. Then a good friend I went to school with, he died into a car accident. Not a car accident, he was hit by a car in Florida, died on scene, brain dead and everything. I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is all of this happening? Um,
Jesus.
I was just becoming more and more upset. I was going to MCC. I was staying away from people. I wasn't talking to people. Then I finally decided I was going to try it. I think I reached my breaking point in the school when I was friends with a white girl named Courtney. Um, Courtney was from Geneva, and just so happened her favorite rapper was Notorious B.I.G. And she was hanging with the wrong person because she was trying to use the N word as if it was free for her.
No.
Her ass. And I got in a lot of trouble for that at school. And that's when they made me start going to see a therapist and a counselor because I was so angry. It was a white guy, like tall, skinny white guy. I don't even remember his name. He was like telling me, like, you're angry. I'm not angry.
You don't know.
What are you talking about?
What
you
it
know
is.
what I'm going through? You don't know my story, man. Don't tell me I'm angry. That made me angry. And I like bugged out at MCC. And then I think a couple months later, I had actually started seeing Miss Hill. So Tasha Hill, she worked for Hillside Work Scholarship Connection when I was at Wilson. Then she became the MCC navigator for Hillside. And Hillside Work Scholarship Connection actually follows you your entire college career. Okay. So that's why the navigators are there. So I was like doing horrible in school. Like I was failing classes. I was not doing good. But Ms. Hill was like, oh, we're going to get you on track. But she was like, what's going on? She was going to school to be a mental health counselor, I believe it was. And for her degree, she had to do like a study or whatever. And I was her study. But she happened to be the therapist. So that's when I started dealing with a lot. And she's like, you should get the help that you need. I'm like, I'm fine. Can I get a Mountain Dew? She's like, you can't even focus,
I don't need help. I need a Mountain Dew.
Yeah, like stop playing with me. But time passed. I got involved with this woman who was a little off her rocker. And I snapped. She pissed me off real good and I snapped on her. And I just lost it. And I'm like, oh shit, that's not me. I didn't like, put hands on her or nothing like that. I just bugged out like, yo, man, I'm tired of this. Like, I do so much for people. I'm so selfless. I was so selfless. Like, I was loving yourself. What did that even mean? Because I had to make sure everybody else was okay.
Right. That was your job since you were in high school.
Seriously. And that's what Ms. Hill would always say is like, no, stop taking care of everybody else. You need to take care of yourself. I'm like, no, Ms. Hill, like, I'm good. But this woman was, I felt like she got what she could get out of me, and she played the game pretty well. And I got upset, and then I finally attempted suicide again. I took a bunch of pills, and I took a bunch of pills, and I was still able to get up and go to work.
Damn.
But that's because they didn't kick in yet.
Oh.
And I was on my way to work at Rochester Child First Network. And I got in front of the job, and I took a lift that day. And the driver was like, you don't look good. You sure you don't want me to take you across the street to the hospital? He was a Muslim. And I said, no, I'm fine, man. I'm good. I guess I must have been slurring my words. He took me to the hospital. And God works in mysterious ways. When I got there, they hooked me to the IV, and they found like all my numbers was all over the place. They was trying to figure out what was going on. I eventually told them. Within moments of me telling them, I had 2 police officers, 2 security guards, and a nurse sitting by my bedside. They said, we can't keep you here. We have to transfer you to Strong Hospital, CPAP unit. And they did that. They took me to Strong, and it was crazy because you see movies and you see people end up places and they like, what the hell? How did I get here? That's really what happened to me. Like I literally woke up in an elevator with people standing around me. I'm like, what the hell? They were like standing next to me. And I had to go to this floor. On this hospital bed. They took me to this floor I've never seen before. It was completely locked down. There was you couldn't get in without a pass. Without the security guard. Like it was like a real police officer, not just a security guard, it's a police officer. Like they had to let you in and out. Like it was a door, you can get through it if you had a pass, but they had to go through clearance to get out. It was a mess. And the person I called was the person I was dating at the time, which was a crazy bitch. She wanted them to keep me. She asked them to keep me and admit me. I got lucky because the social worker who I was speaking to, she was a student at MCC and her professor was the same professor as mine. I'm sorry, she's not my professor. She's the mentor. She's my mentor. And she had, because they interview you. So I don't know if you've ever been in the CPEP, you know anybody that's ever been in, but they give you a full interview. You have to interview with a social worker, you have to interview with a psychologist and a psychiatrist. Like you have to go through a full clearance before they even decide to release you.
Right.
And I actually was I could talk my way out of anything. I'm a poet, why not?
Exactly.
Out of it. And she told me, if we don't keep you here to admit you, you need to do the partial hospitalization program. But the partial hospitalization program works as a full-time job. So you will miss work. You have 2 weeks that you have to go in 8 to 4. It is a real full-time job. You have to be there on time. You cannot be late. If you're late, you get in trouble. If you miss a day, you can get admitted to the hospital. I went through the whole program, which I think was phenomenal. It was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life, other than me sitting in a psychiatrist room with my feet kicked up on her table like I was running the place. And cussing her out for telling me that I needed to talk. I said, I don't want to talk to you because I don't know you. Why would I talk to you about what I feel? You don't know me. I said, white people always want to tell Black people how to feel. You can't tell me how to feel. You don't know my story. And I was tripping in there. And when I finally got discharged from partial hospitalization program, like I said, God is really good. I got lucky because Strong actually had an opening for a new client. I had got a new therapist the first day. So my first appointment was following partial. So partial ended on Friday. My first appointment with the therapist was that Monday. I met with my therapist. I also met with my nurse. So you do have a LPN nurse who prescribes you medications and everything. They had me on one medication that I didn't like how it made me feel because I would just like, which when you see people who have mental health issues or who are on certain medications, that they really do look sad and they don't look like themselves. That's what I was going through, literally. Like after I bugged out in the therapy session, she had prescribed me a medication, and I would just either be asleep or I would just be like high, I guess. And I told my therapist about it. I told my nurse about it, and they had to prescribe me something else to help me regulate my emotions. I was 2018 was when they officially diagnosed me with manic depression 2, or bipolar 2, as well as BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. Also have dissociative disorder, which is I often disassociate when I'm upset.
What does that mean? Like you like
I black out.
Oh, really?
So like if I get too upset, I will black out and I'll completely shut down. I won't talk. I won't have nothing to say, or I just won't be bothered. There has been times where I've blacked out to where I can't tell you what happened. Somebody have to tell me what happened. My past relationship, she kind of triggered me really bad. And the next thing I remembered after I spazzed out was looking at the wall, and it was a complete hole in the wall about this big. I threw a chair to the wall.
Damn.
And I punched the heater thing, the meter.
Uh-huh.
I was so upset. Like, you're accusing me of things and you bothering me, like, but I wouldn't put my hands on her, like.
Yeah. Even when you're blacked out.
Wouldn't do it. I try not to let people get me to that place. I definitely had a plan. I have been in contact with Mobile Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, different resources. I utilize the resources. Being part of therapy, they give you all kind of resources. I actually have the number for my therapist. Like if I get upset right now to where I need to talk to somebody, I can call my therapist and leave a message, or send my therapist a message on my chart. It may not respond right away, but I will be able to talk to them within 24 hours. And
Wow.
There was one time where I had gotten so depressed when I was working for AT&T.
Mm-hmm.
I had so much on my plate, and I just feel like I couldn't carry the load. And my fiance was trying to help me understand, babe, it's gonna be okay. It's just money. And I'm like, no, it's not just money. Stuff got to be taken care of. I'm not okay right now.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, babe, we got this. We're going to be good. But I like to make sure my family is set.
I feel that.
Which goes back to how I was brought up. And I had gotten really sad. And I had got to work. I was sitting outside in the parking lot, shut down, crying. And we had to call my therapist. My therapist had called back within 2 minutes, and she had to talk to me, and she had to talk to my fiance. And I had walked into work, and I talked to the district manager. He actually happened to be on site at the time. And before I could even open my mouth, because I wasn't crying, I had cleaned myself up, and I walked in, I had my earring, I had my gold in, I had my chain on, I had my nice polo all cleaned up. I had to make sure I looked the part. Had my hat on, I looked good. I thought I did, until he looked me in the face and he said, "Whoa, are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm fine." He said, "No, that's not you. That's not like you. This not the Gianni I know. You're always so happy, and what's going on?" And I said, "No, I'm fine." He said, "No, I don't think so. I don't think you should be here right now." And I said, "No, I'm fine." And he talked to me, and then I broke down crying, and he was like, "Excuse me, as much as we need you here, I think we can handle you not being here today. And I think you need to take a couple of days off." He was totally unaware that my therapist was on the phone with my fiance at that moment in the car. She refused to leave me. And it's just, I've gone through so much because I bottle so much in, just family issues, financial issues, mental issues, emotional issues, not facing a lot of things. It's been times where I would refuse to even go to therapy just because I thought I was okay. Take your meds 6 months and then you feel better and then you stop. And then boom, a month later, you're back to where you were just at. Because I always say I don't like taking meds because I don't want to look like I'm crazy. But it doesn't make you seem crazy not taking your meds. You're crazy. By taking your meds, you're crazy not to take your meds, because it really does help you regulate. They're the medications that did have me shutting down and all over crazy, where I was just not myself and my eyes were rolling. And those medications, I got taken off of them, and they put me on the right ones to help me regulate my emotions. And when I say I'm regulated, I'm so good. I'm so good. My therapist told me just this past Friday, I have a new one. He described, he said, In life, we have three essential, I'm gonna tell you exactly what he said because I took notes. And yes, I do take notes in therapy.
That's honestly really smart because then you can actually take it with you.
Yeah, so he said we have three essential valuable resources. There's three of them. Mm-hmm. And he said our three most valuable resources are time, energy, and attention. Mm-hmm. And he said time, because I live by the code that time is the one thing we can never get back, right? So don't waste your time. You can never get time back. But he said time, when you look at time, yes, there's 24 hours in a day. But out of the 24 hours, you only have really, give or take, 8 hours mm-hmm. to get through the day. Mm-hmm. So you have sleep. He said maybe you have a job.
Oh, okay.
You got bathroom breaks. Mm-hmm. You got kids. You got errands to run. And then those couple hours that time that you have to get through what's most important. Don't waste your time on things and people that don't matter because you can't get that time back.
That's a fact.
Then he said energy. He said energy is like a cell phone battery. Mm-hmm. Some days you wake up and you have 100%. Some days you wake up, you have 99%. Then there's certain days that you may wake up and you forgot to put it on the charger, so you only got 40%. You only have so much energy to use for the day. Use it wisely. Mm-hmm. Because when it's gone and it's depleted, you can't get it back because you have to recharge.
Right, exactly.
Recharging takes time. So your energy is one and the same as time. And then you have attention. And he broke down attention so thoroughly. I was like a little mind blown how he did it. Mm-hmm. But he was breaking down attention.
Coming from a poet, that's crazy because you're usually the one breaking everything down.
Yeah, he very profound. He broke down attention as if the way he broke down time and energy, but he said, attention, you don't have a lot of attention in a day. Mm-hmm. You think you do, but you don't. Nobody can really put all of their attention into everything at a time. So you literally can only use attention for one thing at a time, which means you don't have a lot of attention to use for the day. Mm-hmm. Meaning, yes, if you have a job, he said, for you, you work with kids, you can give attention to that one kid and you try to give, he said, imagine trying to give all of your attention to all of the kids at one time. How much attention did you just deplete?
Damn. I mean, that'd be everything.
Exactly. So he said, you can only give so much attention at a time. And it's not a lot. Do not waste your attention on things and people that do not matter. For somebody who deals with severe mental health issues and a lot of sadness and depression from letdowns and people and things like that, you do put your energy and your time into people and things that don't matter. Mm-hmm. The way he broke it down, now I'm like, oh, shoot. All right, that ain't worth my time, so I'm not going to give you that. I ain't even going to pay that shit no attention because I got to put my attention into something else. Because then if I do that, I'm wasting attention on this. And no, I'm not going to put my energy into that. And even though he said it Friday, I literally put that into action these last couple of days. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much more time and energy and attention to give when I don't put it into negative things. I swear to you, I'm like literally paying attention to certain things, like, and I'll say, like, today somebody texted me something crazy and I'm like, okay. I responded to him, okay.
And that's it.
And I said, I'm not even gonna give him that. And I closed it out.
Damn.
I'm not even gonna give you that. Because if I give that to you, then it's just gonna piss me off. Right. Literally taking that moment to say, like, this jackass is a waste of time.
That's huge.
Attention and energy. Like, I literally put something that I could use for something else into that. No, I said, okay. I said okay to him, and I closed the message, and I went on to the next thing. And I think I started laughing at the next thing as if it never happened. Because if we continue to put our time, energy, and attention into things, people, and situations that will strip those things from us, we're never going to be okay. And I want to be okay. You know, my mental health is not 100%. I have breakdowns all the time. I just had a breakdown last month, or just a couple of weeks ago. I don't want to be back in that space. So what do? I focus on me. I hone in on myself, and I take my meds. I took my fiance saying, "Baby, you need to take your meds." Without saying it, she'd be like, "Baby, you tripping." She won't tell me I'm tripping because she knows she's gonna piss me off. She'll be like, "Babe, you should take your meds."
It's like a nice way to let you know.
Yeah, like, and she holds me accountable, and I think that's a big thing for somebody like myself who deals with what I deal with, is when you have people in your life who hold you accountable for that.
Right. Exactly.
To be okay. Accountability is everything. So I need you to be okay, because you can't take care of me or anybody else if you can't take care of you.